Well, it's England's national summer game, and while the winter game is still playing, there's still a lot of cricket action going on. It's that time of the week. It's time to go off to the boundary. Yes, people, welcome once again to the Coach's Corner, and it's that time of the week, the middle of the week. On a Wednesday, we go off to the boundary, cricket show. Now, many of you will know, of course, that Hanno recently started this as a means of trying to offer some more exposure to cricket, especially given that the channel seems to be dominated a lot by football from many different divisions. But it's good to sort of focus a lot more on cricket rather than doing just match coverage and some match and some tournament reviews and analysis. This is something that we're going to keep doing often, and especially with some more fans coming onto the channel and being a part of it, it is wonderful to do this. And speaking of that, we've actually got a fan coming on right now. Let me say hello to Ben Samuel, who lives all the way. Yeah, you're going to have to mute your mic.
Hello all. Good to be here.
Yeah.
It's 2:30 a.m. in India, 2:36 right now. So it's pretty late here in India. And as of UK time, it's 10 p.m. UK time. So good to be joining from at late night. So good to be here on this show.
Yeah. Just don't forget to mute your mic, please.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, for some reason, my speakers have been playing havoc with me, and I'm going to have to try and maybe change that. I really don't know what's going on. But in the meantime, we do have quite a few topics to talk about. And of course, given that you are based in India, this is something that will definitely be of interest to you. I do know, Ben, that you are a very big fan of the Chennai Super Kings because of a certain Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So this headline, if you are a fan, you can either turn away or you can just watch this headline. So this was actually the match that was played today, the 17th match of the tournament between the Chennai Super Kings and the Rajasthan Royals. The Royals, of course, travelled to the Chidambaram Stadium, which was the home of the Super Kings, and they batted first, posting a total of 175, leaving the Super Kings to get a target of 176. And we're going to take a look at the scorecard, basically, for some further analysis, and I will share the scorecard in a minute. This is one of the nicest things about using StreamYard. You get to share the screen and make sure that everyone gets an idea of what is going on. If only the computer worked a little quicker. But it is what it is. And thanks once again to the wonderful people at Cricinfo for complete coverage and analysis. So, confirmation, Rajasthan Royals batted first, posted 175 for 8. And the story of their innings is basically, about 3 or 4 batsmen getting starts, getting to 30s. Of course, the England limited overs captain Jos Buttler continuing his amazing form with a 36-ball 52, which included 3 sixes and a 4. Contributions from Devdutt Padikkal, Ashwin Ravichandran, and Shimron Hetmeyer. Ashwin in particular clubbing the ball for 2 sixes and a 4. 2 sixes as well for Hetmeyer. And Padikkal was probably slightly more sedate with 5 fours in his 38. A very disappointing second ball duck for the captain, Sanju Samson. But in the end, these contributions were probably enough at the end of the day. 10 wides bowled by the bowlers, and it led them to a total of 175 for 8. Taking a look at the bowlers in question, 2 wickets each for Akash Singh, Tushar Deshpande, and Ravindra Jadeja, with Moeen Ali taking a wicket, but his fielding probably wasn't quite the best today. And there was, in fact, a run out of Adam Zampa, who came in as a substitute. He ended up being run out by the combination of bowler Theekshana and the wicketkeeper Tony. And then, of course, yeah. Before we get to the Super Kings innings, I'm going to bring you in here now, Ben, because I don't know if you got an opportunity to watch the match, but you must have seen the likes of Butler and Padikkal building a partnership, and it was that partnership of 77 which helped steady things. And then, of course, losing Samson for a duck put them slightly on the ropes, but then Ashwin and Butler continued to play quite well. With a partnership of I think it was 47, yes, and then of course Ashwin and Butler ended up getting out, and then Hetmeyer came in and also did a little bit of clubbing. A few wickets lost near the end. I wonder what you thought of the Rajasthan innings and what stood out for you in terms of the batting, because clearly there were starts, but except Butler, nobody went on to make a huge score. And if you watched the match, what did you think of the bowling, in particular, the way the spinners were able to do their job?
So speaking of the Rajasthan Royals' innings, so they kept scoring at a healthy rate, consistently throughout. So they kept the scoreboard ticking, especially Butler, and we see Ashwin as well, proving to be pretty handy with the bat. Ashwin did get to a slow start, but he capitalized well on the balls he faced, and he scored some handy runs with the bat too. And then we had Shimran Hetmaya uh, producing some good finishing touches. So all in all, they kept scoring consistently without collapsing. So they kept scoring at a healthy rate from top to bottom. And speaking of Chennai's bowling, uh, they have been pretty expensive. Uh, we Even Ali went 10, Moin went 10 and over. Then Deshpande was expensive as well, but he took two wickets apiece for Akash Singh and Tushar Deshpande. Ravindra Jadeja proved to be pretty economical. He bowled really well. So so it was pretty good batting from Rajasthan Royals. They didn't let the pressure creep in, and they just kept scoring at a healthy rate throughout. So good on
Hmm.
Rajasthan Royals to put up a good good total here.
Yeah,
So that's
I
it.
think having said that, and mute your mic, please. Yeah, so just remember, whenever you finish speaking, you will have to mute your mic because I don't want to have that playback coming on the playback. Now, obviously, you mentioned that they scored at a healthy rate. I think looking back, though, when you take a look at the last 2 overs, especially where they lost 3 wickets, Jarrell, Jason Holder, and Adam Zampa off the last ball, you would think that they probably would have been able to get a few more runs if they hadn't have lost the wickets near the end. And obviously, Hepmeyer still stayed not out, but he obviously needed someone to continue to stay with him. And I mean, there was a handy 25-run partnership between Hetmeyer and Jarrell, which really did help. But I think the bowlers, expensive as they stuck to their task. But again, there were complaints about Moeen Ali's fielding. I think he had some misfields or a dropped catch or two. And it's just another reminder of how important it is to make sure that your fielding is spot on, especially in 2020 cricket, because fine margins can hurt you. And speaking of fine margins, if we take a look at the Super Kings innings, um, obviously the bowlers of Rajasthan had a plan to try to attack the opening partnership because Gaikwad has literally been batting magnificently throughout this tournament, but they got him quite cheaply. Sandeep Sharma bowling, I mean, taking his wicket with Jaswal taking the catch over there. Jaswal taking another catch to get rid of the other opener, Devon Conway, who came good with a 38 ball 50. But this was also a rather sedate effort with 6 4s. And I think if you take a look at the innings, it's fair to say that obviously after losing Gaikwad, Conway and Rahane had to try to consolidate, and consolidate they did with the 68-run partnership. But when Rahane went in the 10th over, it was really a struggle to try to get any real partnerships going. And Dubé and Ali went quite quickly. Ambati Raidu came in and didn't last very long. And once Devon Conway got out, it was left to the old guard, rather, of Jadeja and Tony to try to pull the chestnuts out of the fire. Between them, they hit 5 sixes and 2 fours, scoring 57 runs off 32 balls. But the big story, of course, was Sandeep Sharma, who was entrusted to bowl the last over. He had, in fact, bowled his first 2 overs fairly well and had taken his wickets. But that last over, and we will take a look at the last over in a minute, was really something else, something out of a film script, really. Kuldeep Sen also bowled very economically, and why he wasn't given many more overs will always be a bit of a mystery. Holder was exceptionally expensive, as was the leg spinner Zampa, who came in today. Probably a reminder that leg spin is not really the best type of bowling you want against a batting attack like the Chennai Super Kings. Ashwin Ravichandran, of course, proving economical with 2 for 25 off 4. Yuzvendra Chahal also doing his bit. These two spinners proved to be quite key. I said leg spin wasn't really the ideal thing, but Chahal, of course, being a different type of leg spinner to Zampa, was a lot more effective. But if I may, Ben, we're going to take a look at the last over. And this is why we have ball-by-ball coverage. Just mute it again, please. I'll ask you. I'll come to you. So, 21 runs needed, 6 balls left. Sandeep Sharma had to bowl, and before this, he conceded 18 runs off this over. 17 rather off this over, and before that, he had bowled his 2 overs for 13, which definitely wasn't bad by any means. But first ball wide, trying the slower bouncer, well outside the off stump line. Straight down leg for another wide, 2 wides in a row. Excellent Yorker on the off stumps, but then ended up bowling a full toss onto Dhoni's pads, whacking it into the vacant deep fine leg fence. And then a second consecutive 6 in his 200th game as captain for the Super Kings. Low full toss in the middle, staying deep in his crease, swinging it over deep mid-wicket, just over the ropes. And so with 2 sixes, they just needed 7 off 3. With a single for Dhoni, it was 6 off 2. Jadeja took a single, leaving 5 to win off the last ball. He could have won it with a 6 or sent it to a super over with a 4. But an excellent Yorker from Sandeep Sharma and nailed it on the off stump. Couldn't get under it, only able to drag it to deep mid-wicket. And for once, the finish ended up being finished, with the Rajasthan Royals winning by 3 runs. Now, I will ask you a few questions. Obviously, when we take a look at the scorecard for the Super Kings innings, again, it was a question basically of... sorry about that. It was a question basically of... again, they weren't able to get the partnerships they needed. I think the partnership between Rahane and and Conway, rather, was the best they could get. But losing wickets in the middle order didn't help. They had to rely on a 41-year-old Dhoni to try to help pull the chestnuts out of the fire. And then, of course, the bowling was as it was. Ashwin Ravichandran from Chennai himself, but playing for Rajasthan, was the man of the match for his all-round performance, 30 off 22 and 2 for 25. But if you take a look at this innings, what did you think of the middle order? Because there's always going to be a bit of a problem when Dhoni, probably in his last season, is now expected to try to do a bit more. Surely batsmen of the quality of Ali and Raidu, who came in, would be expected to do a little bit more. And what did you also think of the Rajasthan bowlers, especially Ashwin and Chahal and the seamer Sandeep Sharma?
Yeah. So speaking of Chennai's batting, they never looked good. Uh, Unlike Rajasthan Royals' batter, who scored at a healthy rate. Uh, so they had pretty. They didn't. The top order didn't make as make the runs at a healthy rate, and then at the back end of the innings, there was a lot of pressure on Dhoni and Jadeja to finish. So the middle order had to kept going, but they failed to do so. Uh, Shivam Dube failed. Raidu, who was expected to do well, even got out cheaply. And speaking of Rajasthan Royals' bowling, uh, Ashwin's and Chahal's bowling was truly a masterclass. It was an absolute display of uh, it, their tactical mind. Ashwin and Chahal, uh, they are they are very tactical bowlers, and they just kept hitting the right lengths and made it very difficult for the Chennai batters to get the runs to get it going. So all in all, it was a pretty commendable performance from Ashwin and Chahal. Rest of the bowlers proved to be expensive. Even at in the final over, Sandeep Sharma got off to some bad start, but then he bowled some really tight lengths and restricted the master finisher Dhoni. Uh, the only difference was the third last ball in the final over, which was a length ball outside off stump. So Dhoni should have. It was a good ball for Dhoni to capitalize for a six, but the pressure creeps in, and even the best of the finishers sometimes fail to do so. But all in all, it was a really good action-packed and tense game, which went right down to the wire. Uh, cheers, cheers to both teams who really batted and fought till the very end. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, obviously, Sharma with his Yorkers was the star, and it just goes to show that when it comes to bowling in the death overs in limited overs games, nothing like a Yorker. There's nothing like a Yorker to make sure the batsman will be forced to really think, and it's very difficult actually to get a Yorker just right. Obviously, the likes of Zahir Khan for India, and of course Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunis, and several other great bowlers of yesteryear were masters of being able to get the Yorker delivery spot on at the right time, and certainly it worked out well. I just hope that Sandeep won't be hyped up as a potential Indian bowler because you know IPL performances aren't really the best yardstick to determine whether or not a player is ready for international cricket in all forms. He could potentially play for the one day team, but really he has to continue to perform really well. And many have been the players who have performed well for one season in the IPL, but then the second season hasn't really been the best, and we never hear from them again. So how many? I want just as a question, how many seasons do you think a player should play in the IPL if that person is in the draft before being considered to play for India? Maybe 2 or 3 seasons or more. What do you think?
yeah, 3 seasons will do. If the player performs for 3 seasons consistently, and he really stands out for 3 seasons, yes, he should be in the call up uh, in to the Indian squad. And Sandeep Sharma has been playing since a very long time. So yeah, he deserves a call up maybe. He has got some excellent variations and tight lengths.
Hmm. Yeah, but again, I would like to see a lot more of him, and he really needs to make sure that he continues that particular impact. I want to try to get to the table, because I believe with this particular win, the Royals have now gone to the top of the table. If I can just try and yeah, here is the table. Again, thanks to Cricinfo. So with this victory, the Royals are now top with a net run rate of nearly 1.6. The only loss they've had was to the Punjab Kings in a very tight contest. And then, of course, the Super Giants have won 3 of their first 4 games and are not too far behind. Several other teams, of course, have only played 3 matches each, and by the time each team plays, I think each team will be playing 18 games in the league phase. So I think maybe by the 14th or 15th game being done and dusted, we'll find out which particular teams look set to go through and which teams might not make it. And Chennai, of course, is still in the mix with in 5th place, but this second defeat will really hurt them. And a lot of people are going to talk about how the team shouldn't be dependent on Dhoni and the middle order should take responsibility. But it really should be Dhoni's last season, because sometimes when you have a player who's been such a big part of the team for so long, if that player continues to play, it doesn't really augur too well for the development of future talent. And Dhoni is now into his 40s. So this really should be his last season. And I think the Chennai Super Kings will really need to consider telling him that his services are no longer required. If he's decided to retire after the season, then good for him, because the team has to move forward and move on from him. And of course, forlornly, the Delhi Capitals, despite the best efforts of their captain David Warner, are all the way down in last place. And that's not going to make Hanno very happy, because he is, of course, a big fan of them. And it's often the case that when you have a poor early start, it is very, very difficult to catch up. So at this particular stage, which teams do you think have stood out for you, and which teams do you think will have problems? I know Delhi have many, many problems, but which teams at the top or near the top do you think have stood out for you?
Speaking of the KKR versus Gujarat Giants game, KKR really stood out for me that day, especially Rinku Singh's 5 sixes to win an improbable chase for Gujarat. That game really stood out for me, and that was the moment of the entire IPL tournament so far. And we see Super Kings on the fifth position, but I hope Super Kings to bounce back and move on to the 4th place. So I see Rajasthan, I see Gujarat, Lucknow, Chennai, and Kolkata making it to the playoffs. But Gujarat also look pretty well. Delhi Capitals, no chance. They have lost. They have been pretty bad. So no chance for Delhi Capitals to make it to the playoffs. Hano might be pretty disappointed, but it's a sad state of affairs for Delhi Capitals. They never looked good. Even Warner had a in even Warner is struggling with his strike rate. Uh, Delhi Capitals, we have seen some good finishing of Aksar Patel. He has been pretty handy down the lower order, and he has provided some good finishes with the bat. But I don't see Delhi Capitals making it to the playoffs. So let's see. Uh,
Yeah, because here's the thing. Mute it, please. So if we take a look at the format over here, 10 teams have been given seedings and they've been placed into 2 virtual groups. So in Group A, you've got the Mumbai Indians, Kolkata Knight Riders, Rajasthan Royals, Delhi Capitals, and the Lucknow Super Giants. So if you take the Rajasthan Royals, they have to play the other 4 teams in their virtual group twice. I mean once, rather. And in Group B, you've got the Chennai Super Kings, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Royal Challengers Bangalore, the Punjab Kings, and the Gujarat Titans. So it isn't quite a north-south divide as such. but it's confirmed over here. 10 teams are going to play a total of 14 matches, 7 home and 7 away, and each team has to play the 5 teams of the other group twice, the other 4 from their own group once. So the other 4, of course, will be 2 home and 2 away, and that, of course, will be decided. And at the conclusion of this league stage, the top 4 teams will qualify for the playoffs. So they've shortened it in this way, so that instead of playing 18 games each, they end up playing 14. And basically, of course, the playoffs again will be another kettle of fish. And so you said that Delhi won't make it, and you said that Rajasthan and Chennai and Gujarat and maybe Kolkata could make it, but Lucknow, of course, are right up there, and the Punjab Kings also have 2 wins from their 3 games. Why don't you rate their chances of reaching the playoffs?
We never know. Anything can happen. It's very unpredictable. Can't say anything. But I'm only hoping that Chennai make it to the playoffs. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I completely understand. And yeah, so let's take a look now, preview now to the next one here, because the next game, the defending champions, Gujarat Lions, of course, are going to be traveling all the way to Mohali to take on the Kings 11 from Punjab. And both teams are in decent form with good chances. But Punjab, of course, tipped to win this match because of home advantage and the presence of England batsman Liam Livingston. But what I'd like to ask you now is, obviously this particular match will be played in Mohali, so home advantage, of course, goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yep, and mute, please. So, yeah, the Titans, of course, as you mentioned, were, shocked by that those 5 consecutive sixes. So they're going to have to try to bounce back, which won't be easy. And the Kings are also coming off a loss themselves, so they're going to try and see if they can take advantage of any kind of PTSD that the Gujarat Titans are suffering. Now, of course, Liam Livingston has finally arrived. Yeah, listen, please don't mute it until I ask you to speak, okay? Please don't unmute it. So Liam Livingston's in Mohali training at the Nets. This should be his first formal cricket match since jarring his knee on Test debut in Pakistan. Very painful. And he will take Matt Short's place in the 11. And Pandya, of course, for the Titans, missed that match because he was unwell, but he should be available for the encounter. And of course, we've got the impact player strategy for both the Punjab Kings and the Titans. So they'll probably, of course, with the potential of substitutes and impact players coming in, if the Kings decide to bat first, it will be Prabh Simran Singh at the top of the order alongside Shikhar Dhawan. But if they decide to field first, then it will be Rashid Dhawan coming in at number 8, who will be named in the team instead. And that is one way they can possibly go. As for the possible batting first side for the Titans, it could very well be Sai Sudarshan coming into bat number 3 before Hardik Pandya if they bat first. But if they field first, then it could very well be Josh Little coming into the side as a bowler. So now I'm going to come to you. I don't. You probably might have seen both of their losses, and of course, obviously the challenge will be for both teams to try and recover from those defeats. Who do you think has the better ability to bounce back from those defeats, and what will be your prediction for the game tomorrow?
So, speaking of this game, I am going with Gujarat. Obviously, they had a bad day at the office against KKR, but they have proved to be pretty quality as when it comes to clutch performances. They have come out well as a team in many games, in many past games. So, and Hardik Pandya will also be returning as a skipper. So it will be an added bonus for Gujarat Giants. So speaking of this game, I'm going with Gujarat Giants to win. So let's see who wins it. But I'm going with Gujarat.
Hmm. Interesting that you've gone with Gujarat. So you don't think Liam Livingston's arrival to the Punjab Kings lineup will have any effect? Because he has been a pretty dangerous batsman for England in limited overs cricket, and he's also not done too badly overall. So he was picked by the Kings as a potential star player. You don't seem to think that he'll have much of an impact.
He might have an impact for sure, but when Gujarat Giants might uh, win it. Liam Livingston. Let's see what's in store for Liam Livingston. But in the end, Gujarat manages to find some or the other way to win. We have seen it in many games in the past. So, so the odds are in favor of Gujarat Giants. So let's see.
Okay, so you're predicting a Titans win, the defending champions, of course. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to predict who might win that particular game, but should be certainly exciting. Haven't been able to watch too much, though, these days. Now, of course, we're going to switch our focus from the IPL back to international cricket. And this will be the first of our two remaining topics. Pakistan against New Zealand. The the depleted Kiwis are going to be up against the Green Army. And the reason why I say depleted, of course, is because if we take a look at the oops. Yes. So if we take a look at the series in question, we're going to have a bit of a preview here. The Kiwis themselves suffered a huge blow at the beginning of the IPL and of course with the Gujarat connection, the New Zealand ODI and T20 captain Kane Williamson suffered a horrific knee injury while playing. And so that knee injury means that not only will he miss these assignments against Pakistan and Sri Lanka, he also will end up missing the World Cup. So it will be Tom Latham to captain that side. And Tim Southey, Glenn Phillips, Santner, Devon Conway, Finn Allen, Michael Bracewell, and Lockie Ferguson all given clearance to participate in the current IPL. And of course, as confirmed, he's been ruled out with a knee injury and he will miss the World Cup. So the New Zealand head coach Gary Stead has said, we've enjoyed a number of exciting matches against Pakistan across both white ball formats in the last season, home and away. And they're going to be a tough team no matter where you take them on. The successful ODI series earlier this year in Pakistan provided big learning opportunities for the players, and having more ODI match experience is fantastic in a World Cup year. And one addition to their coaching staff who might help them is the former Pakistan international Saqlain Mushtaq. Until February, he was head coach of the Pakistan national side, but now he's joined New Zealand as their assistant coach. So a little switch going on over there. And Saqlain, who was a very genial off spinner in his days, playing over 100 tests for his nation and being a big part of their ODI teams. Apparently, Gary Stead has said having sub one with his experience will be a big boost for the group. We're looking forward to the insights he can offer us to aid our preparations for local conditions, and in particular the assistance he can provide to our spin bowling group. So this is, of course, a confirmation of the squad for the ODI series. And, of course, they've already played Sri Lanka in a full series for both tests, ODIs, and one-dayers. This is basically, of course, the with regard to the ODI side. And if we take a look at the T20s squad, with the first T20 starting tomorrow, this will, basically be the case. Yeah, two uncapped players in both the T20 and ODI squads. Jimmy Neesham also makes a comeback. And again, these Kiwis who are currently in the IPL have not been picked for the squad in question. So the squads are definitely going to miss the players in question. A great deal of experience. Definitely the same squad once you take a look at it, with three additions for the T20s: Dane Cleaver, Cole McConchie, and Blair Tickner, but very much lacking in experience. And it's here basically that I would like to speak to you about this. Obviously, when it comes to playing in the IPL, a large number of players will want to go to the IPL to have the exposure of playing in India and also playing against some of the best players in the world and some really talented young players from India, and also earn a good sum of money in the process. But when it comes to a decision where you have a series like this and players end up missing out because of the clearance they get to play, and the board end up offering them that clearance, I'm not too sure why the New Zealand Cricket Board couldn't have said, you know, we can't let players of your talent just walk away like this. And it does seem clear that had they asked Kane Williamson to stick around and captain the team, I believe he was supposed to, captain the team. I'm not too sure, but he might have been given clearance to play in the IPL, but he also would have been able to come back and play for the Kiwis if possible. But now, of course, with Williamson injured and these other players unavailable, the squad to Pakistan lacks any great deal of experience. I wonder if you think that maybe it's time the certain cricket boards from different nations sort of clamp down and say, look, the national team does come first, and we can't afford to let so many players go to the IPL to earn some money if it's going to be at a detriment to us or a cost to us. What do you think of that?
Yeah, sure. International cricket should be the priority. Uh, the yes, the board sh- the board should uh, impose some certain restrictions, especially when it comes to important series. The cricket board should make sure that the key players don't miss out. Speaking of a series with the low ranked teams, the cricket board of the country can let their player let ease the restrictions on their players. But when it comes to important series, yes, the board should not let them just uh, play in foreign leagues. International cricket should be their priority when it comes to important series, as it gives them as it provides them the right exposure for the important World Cup games as well. So, in my opinion, yes, when it comes to important series, the cricket board should have some hard rules for it. So yeah,
I'm glad you agree, because a lot of these players will say, of course, with the ODI World Cup taking place in India, it does make sense to play in those conditions. But there is a clear difference between playing franchise T20 cricket and actually playing international cricket, because there are different sets of pressures involved. And one big criticism of several players is that they're too willing to make sure they play their best for their franchise teams because of the money they're earning. But when it comes to their country, they aren't quite able to, get their act together. Some players actually do perform better for their country than for their franchise teams. I think Arshdeep Singh, who I saw obviously for India in the World Cup, was one of India's better players as they reached the semi-finals. Certainly, the way he bowled against Pakistan in the group stage was a joy to behold. Both at the very beginning when he got the ball to swing, and also at the end overs when he didn't really concede too many runs. I think there is a lot of potential in Arshdeep Singh, and I want to see him, really improve and get better. He's certainly one of a long line of Indian left-arm seamers to have come out in more recent times. Zahir Khan, of course, leading the way. And if he develops a little bit more, he can certainly go on to become a household name. And of course, speaking of the experience, if we take a look at the Pakistan squads for this white ball series, and of course, let's not forget the T20 series starts tomorrow morning, Pakistan time. We see that Shaheen Shah Afridi, one of the star players of the Pakistan team in the T20 World Cup, is returning to international cricket after 4 months. He was named in both the ODI squads. And of course, captain and the opening partnership of Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, who were rested for the T20s against Afghanistan, but they're also back in the sides for the series. And the series in question will be played from the 14th of April to the 7th of May, so almost over the course of a month. Of course, Shaheen had in fact sustained a knee injury during the first test against Sri Lanka in Galle last year and missed 5 tests and 3 ODIs against England and New Zealand, so he had to complete his rehabilitation. And of course, in the final of the T20 World Cup, he bowled 2 overs and took a wicket, but he also hurt his knee in that game and had to leave the field. And that probably, in some ways, played a big role in England somehow managing to get home after a huge wobble in the middle over following that another terrific opening partnership. I mean, it wasn't an opening partnership, but Joss Butler once again played a wonderful innings and was looking set to take them home. But then they had that stumble. He did return to competitive cricket in February. He took part in the Pakistan Super League and captained his franchise side, the Lahore Qalandars, of the title. Azam Khan, Abdullah Shafiq, and Mohammad Wasim Jr. have been dropped from the ODI squad, and Haris Sohail has been retained for the upcoming series. He had earned a recall to the national side. And just taking a look at the squads in question, obviously Babar Azam, Shadab Khan, Iftikhar Ahmed, Fakhr Zaman, Haris Rauf, Imad Wasim, Mohammad Nawaz, Mohammad Rizwan, Nasim Shah, Shaheen Afridi, Shan Masood, and several other players, of course. So you can see right here, Ben, that this Pakistan team now does seem to want to take international limited overs cricket a lot more seriously. And the fact that they brought back some of their big guns after resting them against Afghanistan is proof of that. A lot of people will say, well, many of these guys haven't even bothered to enter the draft for the IPL, so it doesn't really matter. But then the IPL isn't the be-all and end-all of cricket. So it is wonderful to see that, with several other T20 leagues around the world, the IPL isn't the only way you can earn a decent sum of money and a decent living for playing T20 cricket. But this team does look very experienced and certainly up against a depleted New Zealand team, which has some talent, but not really a very well-rounded team in terms of experience. It's hard to look beyond Pakistan winning both the T20 and the ODI series. So what do you think of these squads?
as you said, yes, New Zealand looks pretty inexperienced, and Pakistan have a pretty experienced squad. and they have a proper depth in the squad as well. And speaking of head-to-head T20 contests between the two, uh, Pakistan have an edge. Pakistan have won 18 games. On the other hand, New Zealand have won 11 games. So definitely Pakistan has an edge on this one. And yes, even I can't look beyond Pakistan. So for me, Pakistan is winning this T20I series, and it will be pretty uh, tough going for New Zealand in this T20I series. So that's what my thoughts are.
Exactly, exactly. I completely agree. And of course, just confirmation of the fixtures. Of course, tomorrow the first T20 international, a day and night clash, will be played in Lahore. The first three T20s will be in Lahore. The fourth one will be in Rawalpindi. And the last two T20s will be in Rawalpindi. So these two cities are basically where the T20 series will be played. The first ODI will also be in Rawalpindi again for the second ODI. The third ODI will take us to Karachi as where the fourth ODI will be played. So a total of 10 matches in the series for limited overs, and I really don't like these advertisements coming in. It's absolutely ridiculous. Please forgive me, everyone. And yep, 5 T20s, 5 ODIs. It really is hard to look beyond Pakistan win in both of them. But of course, as we both agree, cricket is a funny old game. Anything can happen. You just never know. Am I right? Your silence says it. I'm absolutely right. Take a look at some comments right now. Yeah, obviously, just want to say thanks to all of you for coming right in. Yeah, I think we lost you there, Ben. I think there was a problem with your internet connection. So I think, as I was saying, there are going to be 5 T20s and 5 ODIs between Pakistan and New Zealand. So there's no way that we can look beyond uh, a Pakistan win in both those series. But then cricket is a funny old game. Anything can happen, and that's the beauty of it. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything can happen. We have seen unexpected events happen in cricket, and we have seen a lot of upsets. So, but I'm going with Pakistan winning this series 3-2. But let's see. Upsets are a possibility. So we'll have to wait and watch.
So that'll be 3-2 for both the T20s and ODIs.
Uh, as of ODIs, maybe New Zealand can make a comeback in ODIs, but uh, as of T20Is, I can't see beyond Pakistan.
Definitely, definitely. Now, of course, to our final topic, and this will sort of help wrap things up. We've got Sri Lanka playing Ireland. These this series will basically consist of 2 test matches, which will not be into in the cycle of the World Test Championship. Of course, Sri Lanka had their chance to qualify for the World Test Championship, but they weren't able to. You know, they obviously lost to New Zealand both their tests, and of course, India secured a series win over Australia in India, which means that Australia and India will meet again in the World Test Championship final, and that certainly will be a match for the ages. I think India will definitely be looking to try and get their name on that trophy, but Australia under Pat Cummins and Steve Smith will be no mugs. So obviously the series will consist of 2 test matches. Both of them are going to be played in the city of Gaul from the 16th to the 20th of April and from the 24th to the 28th of April. So it'll be over the course of about 2 weeks. And this will be some good experience for Ireland. It's not a one-off test match. It will be a two-test series, and certainly they showed some promise when they played against Bangladesh, but again, the same old issues of inconsistency plague them in a way. Now, an interesting story here is that the Sri Lankan captain, Karunaratne, has spoken about wanting to step down as captain after these two Ireland tests. So he might end up being able to lead his team to victory in the series. But he's led his country in 26 tests and has won 10. And only Jayasuriya, Ranatunga, Jayawardene, and Matthews have more test victories, but they'd all captained at least 34 tests, while Karunaratne hasn't captained in too many. And he is, of course, one of their most experienced players, having played well over 80 tests, scoring over 6,000 runs at an average of just under 40 in tests. Now, he's had 4 years in the job and a fresh cycle looming for the World Test Championship. He'd like to hand over to a new captain for the next cycle, with these Ireland tests not a part of the current cycle. Obviously, he says that in the next cycle, you've got to do 2 years. He wants a new captain to do that whole cycle, rather than him doing a 1 year cycle and then handing over. He had spoken to the selectors about this, but hadn't really gotten a response from them. He might get a response very soon. And of course, he was the captain of the Sri Lankan team that lost both tests against New Zealand in New Zealand, the first one being a nail-biter, but the second one being far more comprehensive, an innings and 58 runs. Sri Lanka is scheduled to play 6 tests in 2023, but only 4 of those will count towards the next cycle. And basically, he spoke about wanting to concentrate on his batting. But again, if we take a look at the Sri Lankan squad, they've also dropped experienced player in. Oh, goodness. I really hate these advertisements, man. Yep. They've dropped their wicketkeeper batsman, Niroshan Dickwella, who's also fairly experienced, from their 15-man squad. And they've named 2 wicketkeepers, Madushka and Samara Wikrama, as their wicket-keeping options. And 2 of their fast bowlers, Lahiru Kumara and Kasun Rajit, have been rested. Ashita Fernando, Oshada Fernando, and Shamika Karunaratne have also been left out. And of course, with Sri Lanka playing at home, they've called up left-arm spinner Embal Denia to the squad as a recall, and an uncapped leg spinner in Dushan Hemantha. And here as well, if we take a look at the Ireland tests, the names that stand out to me are Karunaratne, Mendes, Matthews, Chandimal, and of course Alanjaya de Silva. But the issue that I have here is, if Karunaratne were to step down, Matthews and Chandimal have already captained the side. So I'm not sure that going back to them would be the best answer. And I get that Karunaratne wants to focus a lot more on his batting and really focused on scoring more. But if he goes, who could possibly replace him as captain? And if you were in Karunaratne's position, or if you were a selector, would you accept his decision to resign, or would you tell him, look, we really can't do without your leadership because we don't really have anyone else who can do the job? So what would your idea be?
So, so if I were a selector, I would have definitely spoken spoken with Chamika Karunaratne, tried to console him. But in the end, if it is his wish to let go, then I would let him go. and we see Dasun Shanaka probably replacing him. Maybe Dasun Shanaka can be a replacement for Chamika Karunaratne.
It's Dimut Karunaratne, not Shamika.
Acha, oh, I see. It's Dimit. So the
Yeah.
Dasun Shanaka might replace Dimut Karunaratne for me. So Dasun Shanaka seems to be a replacement for me.
Hmm. A possible option there. Because it's either that or run the risk of going back to either Matthews or Chandimal. Matthews, of course, also has played 100 tests and has already been a big part of Sri Lankan cricket for a long time. I'm sure he wouldn't mind necessarily taking the job again. Chandimal has had quite a few issues, though, so it will remain to be seen what happens. And then, of course, some Irish team news. Um, yeah, Paul Sterling, of course, will be available for Ireland's second test, and basically, what happened that Ireland was supposed to play two ODIs in Sri Lanka, but that's now been replaced by a test match. And he had opted to sit. Sterling had wanted to sit out of Ireland's test commitments to give himself a chance to rest amid a jam-packed schedule. But let's go for his plans to change or evolve in the way they now have. And of course, the tour initially consisted of a test and two ODIs. But the hosts obviously wanted to get some more red ball experience, so the two ODIs have now been replaced by an extra test, with both of them being played in Gaul. And of course, for the Dhaka test against Bangladesh, their squad had 9 uncapped players. 3 of them had never played first-class cricket, so they're going to need all the experience they can get. And another player in the test squad is the former Zimbabwean international Peter Moore. So again, with this particular series, and we will start to wrap up, again, it's going to be a tough test for Ireland. They do have some very good spin bowlers in their attack, and this test series could very well be decided by spin. And spin bowlers for Sri Lanka have, of course, held sway over the years. But Ireland's batting just looks to be a little bit weak, and they seem to be dependent on their captain Andrew Balbirnie and also the experienced Paul Sterling. And the big problem is, of course, that if and when um, those two fail, it creates a bit of a handicap for the other batsmen and the rest of the team, as we see. So again, I can't really look beyond Sri Lanka securing a win, especially with the experience they have. They should be able to win both these tests quite easily and recover from the loss to New Zealand. Again, there's no way that we can look beyond a Sri Lankan win for this series. Having seen squad for Sri Lanka and also seen the team news for Ireland, what's your prediction? And who do you and as if it's going to be a series dominated by spinners, do you think the fast bowlers will have any joy, or the spinners will just dominate altogether?
So in this series, spinners will be dominating the series. The fast bowlers might get a wicket here and there, but I see the spinners dominating, and Sri Lanka is going to be pretty dominant in this series. And Sri Lanka have been pretty dominant even against the top tier sides. We have even seen uh, maybe a year ago Sri Lanka versus Australia series ending up in a 1-1 tie. So Sri Lanka have also given quality side like Australia a pretty good scare at in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is a pretty good team when they play at home, and Sri Lanka is going to be dominant in this series. But I want Ireland to do well. It will be pretty good on them if they come out well. But I'm but I think Sri Lanka will win it.
Yeah, obviously, Sri Lanka had in the recent past a certain Rangana Herath who was, literally they're colossus when it came to spin bowling. But now, of course, there's some new spinners who've come in. A lot might be expected of them. Some of them have a little bit of experience. One or two others will be uncapped. And the spinners, I'm thinking of George Dockrell for Ireland and company, will certainly have a role to play for them. But the batsmen are going to have a lot of practice playing spin, and there will be a lot of lessons that will be learnt by this very young and experienced team. So effectively, this should be another one-sided series. You wonder why such series will be played, but obviously Ireland will tell you that the experience will be invaluable, and knowing them, they will definitely give it as good as they can get. So we've now come to the end of the show, and I just want to say thank you, Ben, for coming along. I'm going to sort of put you on solo layout so that you can now share any information as to where we can find you on social media. And do you have any YouTube channels of your own?
Yeah, so speaking of my social handles, you guys can check me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram. So go by the Instagram account Ben Samuel 6969. I don't have a YouTube account as such. So my social handles are in Facebook, uh, and Instagram. So my Facebook ID goes by Ben Samuel, and my Insta ID goes by Ben Samuel 6969. Cheers.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming along. And once again, the strange internet is giving me a few problems, but now we're back. And this has gone on for about an hour, but we've had some in-depth discussions, and we'll hope to keep doing this in the coming weeks. And obviously, with more and more series and more tournaments coming up, we will have a lot to say, and we will hope to get a few more guests coming on. But I'm grateful to you, Ben, for continuing to come and for your commitment to coming on, especially late as it is. It's time for you to go and get some sleep, as it is for me. And to the rest of you, thank you all for listening to this. I know it's gone on for a long time, and for many of you who've been watching, it's probably not been very interesting, but you made this video what it is. Please keep subscribing to subscribe to the Coach's Corner, and I will now show you the tickers to where you can contact Hannah. Once again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click to the bell button. You can follow Hanno on Instagram at Hanno_coach_corner. Twitter is Hanno70830030, and on TikTok at CoachesOrner1. I think he meant to type Coach's Corner, but he probably wasn't able to. But once again, we will see you next week with more cricket previews, reviews, and analysis, and it's wonderful to keep on doing this. But for now, from Ben and from me and from everyone at the Coach's Corner, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and we will see you all again very soon.